Road maps have been artificially stretched to hide the fact that driving distances don't match the distances of nautical mile straight pathways of airplanes and boats.
Yes, it's them again, Hervé and Taboo Conspiracy, and I will once again show that they are liars. And then it's this stupidity.
Today we're going to have the first flat earth demonstration and information session with some great speakers and researchers that have been researching this for many years.
Welcome to Toronto Tours, and here's your reminder that we live on a flat, non-rotating Earth. Just test that at the Lake Ontario, you can see across the lake.
The first flat earth gathering in Toronto. Will be interesting to see a big audience they had.
Now, where does this scientism come from? 500 years ago, elites infiltrated the scientific community. Traditional science had to be testable, repeatable, verifiable, and falsifiable using empirical evidence. But then, 500 years ago, they had what was called the scientific revolution. That was when globalists infiltrated the science community and they turned true truth-seeking methodology into a system where you have to blindly trust experts without question.
That was really a big crowd. I will not try to debunk this silly video. I thought it was funny. Now over to Taboo and the Swiss sailor. This is a follow-up on my latest video. So let's start.
Road maps have been artificially stretched to hide the fact that driving distances don't match the distances of nautical mile straight pathways of airplanes and boats. To be clear, your driving distance aren't wrong. Driving distances cannot be altered, but nautical mile pathways of airplanes and boats can be altered. The southern hemisphere. In other words, actual distances in the east-west direction in the northern hemisphere are shorter than claimed by maps and the globe. While in the southern hemisphere, actual distances between points are farther away.
This video follows the previous video on distances, where we observed that the distances on the maps, in particular the distances as crow flies, are also wrong by about double. That is to say that the scale of the distances on the maps are twice too large.
Hervé and Taboo claims that they are manipulating charts and maps, but they also claim that the distances you get in a car is correct, and the big fraud is east to west. So therefore I will compare the distances on a chart and using Google Maps. Let's have a look at an example. This is Finland, and we look at the distance between Kotka and Wanda. Measure a straight line on a chart. 57 nautical miles, and that corresponds to 105 kilometers. Let's look at if we drive a car. That's 117 kilometers. So the straight line is 105 and by car 117. Let's do the same in US between Baton Rouge and Houston. The chart 223 nautical miles and converted to kilometers 406. Let's do the same. Let's take the car. And the distance is 433 kilometers. So here we compare 406 in a straight line to 433. Let's move on to Australia and check the distance between Auckland and Perth. The chart is 671 nautical miles, which corresponds to 1,243 kilometers. and by car the trip is 1,438 kilometers. And there was 3 examples from different places on our globe. According to Hervé, speeds on boats and airplanes are fake to hide that maps and the charts are manipulated. Let's have a look on a flight from New York to San Francisco. Here you have the distance traveled and the distance remaining. And those 2 distances sums up to 4,167 kilometers. Let's look at the distance if we choose to take a car instead. And we get a distance of 4,723. Let's look at the straight distance on a chart. That distance is 2,227, which corresponds to 4,124 kilometers. And here you can compare the 3 distances on the chart, the airplane and the car. And then let's have a look at the time for this flight and calculate the speed. It had a speed of 331 kilometers per hour. Let's check on the sides on flight radar. Down here you have the speed 439 knots and we convert it to kilometers per hour 813. Calculation based on the distances I came up with 731 kilometers per hour, and when I looked at the airplane in the air flying it was 813, and it makes all sense because the first number includes starts and landings. Let's have a look at the chart again and check how long would it take if you fly 439 knots. 5.07 hours. So when I compare maps, charts, times it takes to travel by car, times it takes to travel by airplane, speeds, everything match up. Where is the manipulated speeds and maps? You know, only in the minds of 2 lying fools, Hervé and Taboo Conspiracy.
In addition, both false magnetic declination adjustments and time zones certainly hide these changes.
According to Hervé and Taboo, they have invented magnetic declination to hide the fact that they are manipulating the charts and maps. There are so many problems with that silly theory. The magnetic poles are constantly moving, and that is easy to verify by yourself. This compass you have on every paper chart, and if we read it 2005, that's the year it was produced or the values is valid for, and 7.0 east means that it was the north was 7 degrees east of north, and in the end of that sentence you have 0.1 east, and it means that every year it changed 0.1 degrees east. So if you had used this chart 2010, the declination would be 7.5 degrees east. This is true, is easy to verify. You can use a GPS compass, you can use a Euro compass, or a map where you know north is. All identify. Hire a flurf in Finland and ask him to travel the distance I showed and filming all the time. Or hire a flurf in Australia or one in US. All is verifiable. And the same goes for magnetic declination. It's so easy to check that they are lying. I'm back after more than a week in Ukraine. Thank you everybody helping me, helping Ukraine with buying drones. If you use PayPal, I send kamikaze drones. They really need our help. So thank you everyone for helping. So once again I showed that Taboo Conspiracy and his so-called experts are nothing but big liars. Hope you liked this video. We'll be back soon. Have a nice day. Bye.